Hello, students. Today we will study chapter 5, The Happy Prince. There are two main characters in the story. One is Happy Prince, and second is a bird, Swallow. Let's read what happens in the story. The Happy Prince was a beautiful statue. He was covered with gold. He had sapphire for eyes and a ruby to his sword. Why did he want to part with his gold that he had and his precious stone? The statue of Happy Prince is covered with gold and he has sapphire eyes. Sapphire is like a gem, okay? And he was fully covered with gold, but the Happy Prince wants to give away all his riches to the poor people, to the needy. Let's know how he does it and why he does it. High above the city, on a tall column mean on a platform. As you can see in this picture, the statue was made on a high platform. Stood the statue of Happy Prince. He was gilded with thin leaves of fine gold. The statue of the Happy Prince was covered with gold. His eyes had two bright sapphires. Sapphires mean gems. And a large ruby. As you can see in this picture, he had a large ruby which shone, glowed mean which shone on his sword hilt. You can see here in this picture as well that what the Happy Prince had in his sword, a ruby, and his eyes were of two sapphire, and he was fully covered with gold. One night there flew the city a little swallow. One night a bird, a swallow, came over there. His friends had gone away to Egypt 6 weeks ago. We know that birds used to migrate from one place to another, so the swallow had to go to Egypt. His old friends' birds have already flown to Egypt, but he had stayed behind. He was left behind. Then he decided to go to Egypt too. All day long he flew, and at night time he arrived at the city where the statue of Happy Prince was located. Where shall I put up? Put up mean where shall I stay? The swallow started thinking that where shall he stay or where shall he spend his night? I hope the town has made preparation. The swallow started wondering that there might be a place to stay in the whole town. This town has made preparation mean there might be a suitable place where the swallow could live. Then he saw the statue on the tall column. On the tall platform, this bird saw the statue of Happy Prince. I will put up there. The swallow thought that he would stay near the statue because it would be like a cover. It is fine position with plenty of fresh air. If the swallow would stay here, the four sides it will be suitable to get the air. Also, the Happy Prince would work as a shelter. So he alighted mean it landed just between the feet of the Happy Prince. I have a golden bedroom. The Happy Prince was made up of gold. That's why the swallow, when stayed at the feet of the Happy Prince, it said that it had a golden bedroom. Softly to himself and looked around. The swallow started looking around and it was happy because it had got a golden bedroom. When the swallow prepared to go to sleep, just as he was putting his head under his wing, a large drop of water fell on him. When the swallow was about to sleep, suddenly a drop fell on the swallow. The swallow wondered that it was not raining. Then how it got a raindrop? What a curious thing. Curious means strange thing. There is not a single cloud in the sky. The stars are clear, and yet it is raining. Another drop fell. The swallow again wondered that there was no rainfall, still, the rain drops were falling on him. What is the use of the statue if it could not keep the rain off? Rain off mean it, if it could not save the swallow from rain, then what is the use of statue? I must look for a good chimney pot. The swallow thought that he should change the position, he should go somewhere else, he should better go to a chimney and determined to fly away. So the swallow thought that the statue was not the suitable place to stay because it could not keep him away from the rain. So the swallow thought to fly away. But before he had opened the wings, a third drop fell. He looked up and saw, what did he see? The eyes of the happy prince were filled with tears, and tears were running down his golden cheeks. His face was so beautiful in the moonlight, and the little swallow was filled with pity. When the swallow looked up, it was not raindrops. It was not raindrop. It was actually the tear of the happy prince. So the swallow felt pity that why the happy prince was crying. Who are you? He said. I am the happy prince. Now the statue spoke up that it was the statue of the happy prince. When I was alive, why are you weeping? The swallow asked the happy prince that why he was weeping. You have quite drenched me. Drenched mean wet. Your tears, his tears had drenched the swallow. When I was alive, when I was alive, had a human heart, answered the statue, I didn't know what the tears were. Actually, when the happy prince was alive, he was so happy. He did not know anything about sorrow, he did not know anything about tears. For I lived in the palace and there was no sorrow allowed to enter. The happy prince lived a very happy life. He never experienced any kind of sorrow. He lived in a rich palace. He was always happy. He didn't know what the sorrow was, what the pain was, and what the tears were. My courtiers called me the happy prince. His ministers, his nobles used to call him happy prince because he was always happy. Indeed, he was happy. Indeed, mean really, he was happy. So I lived and died. Now I am dead. They are they have set me up here. When the happy prince died, a statue was erected in the middle of the city on a high platform. Now the statue was so high that the statue could see the ugliness and the misery, pain in the city. And though my heart is made of lead, yet I cannot choose but weep. Thus, when statue kept on looking at the pain in the city, because it was a high platform and the statue could see all the pains of the people, all the sorrows of the people.